Self-Love is the New Sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts, and welcome to another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. And in today's episode, I want to talk about how adversity invites new thoughts and new actions. Adversity invites new thoughts, new actions, and new behaviors. So what am I talking about? There are numerous different examples of what I'm talking about, but I want to highlight one because I saw it several different times and I've spoken to several different people today. And so since it's so top of mind and it's so abundantly clear that I knew I had to speak on it tonight. So tonight's example is the financial markets and your savings and how it's being invested and the losses that accounts are taking. So I'm at work and I'm talking with a friend of mine and an older gentleman, and he's talking about how he's afraid to go check the balance on his investment account, his retirement account, because he's afraid to see how much he's lost. And so I thought to myself, should I offer him what I'm thinking or what I've been doing or not? And so, of course, I chose the latter and said, yeah, I should just go ahead and tell him. So I said, well, why don't you invest yourself? Why would you allow someone else to invest your money? And in situations like this, just sit back while you lose a certain percentage. And he even offered 30% of his retirement account when you don't actually have to. So that was one example. And of course, I got kind of the deer in the headlights and basically, I don't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, well, if you don't want to take control of your retirement accounts, then you agree that it's okay to take substantial losses when times are tough and the market dips or takes a dive. So then I'm scrolling through a little bit of social media. I typically spend a couple minutes a day on it. And there was another guy, a friend of a friend I saw on Facebook, who was talking about his retirement account and saying that he had lost $50,000 in the short period of time that the stock market has dipped. He also mentioned that in 2008, when the market tanked, his retirement account did the same thing. He lost a substantial amount of money. And so it's interesting that last big dip in 2008 is really what started me to thinking again differently. Hence the title of this episode. Adversity invites us to start to think differently, behave differently, and act differently. So back in 2008, when it dipped, the market took a nosedive and people lost their savings and on and on and on. I started to think, wow, what could I do differently? Because I'd always kind of thought in the back of my mind, why are we so trusting in the way our financial system is set up? How do you just give your money to people and pay them, in some cases, huge commissions to literally not really do very much with your money, but yet when the market, isn't good, you take all the loss? Because I can guarantee you the people investing your money aren't taking the type of loss that you are taking in your accounts. So, the wheel starts spinning for me is, okay, since I see the trends and I know what's being done today, how can I do something differently? Now, it didn't become a super important endeavor for me until the last couple years, but I'd always had that thought. And so when I really got the inkling and I realized that this investing thing was top of mind for me on so many occasions. I was like, okay, this is my warning sign. This is my sign that I need to really learn more about this and figure out how to be in the market without, number one, how to maximize what I'm doing in the market and also minimize the loss that I'm taking. So let me give you a quick example, and I won't go into the boring details, but I just want to give you a quick example. The guy I talked with this morning says he's lost probably 30%, maybe even more of his retirement savings account in the last really week. The guy on Facebook says he's lost $50,000 in the last several days. So I'm going to give you a quick example. Me, I lost $103 this week. Period. That's it. $103. Now, my mentor, who I'm learning investing from, I'm not sure exactly what his numbers are, but I would say over the last 6 days, as of the time that I'm recording this, he's probably made conservatively $30-something thousand. And the market's been down several days. And there are other people in our group that have made money most days while everyone else is losing money. Why is that? How is that? It's because we are investing differently. We are in control of how our money's being invested, and so we have that ability when the market goes south, that we can, not only do we understand and know what's happening, is we can approach it totally differently than simply leaving our money in the market, watching the market tank, and our investment accounts tank as well. I mean, that's the old thought, right? And so that's all I want to mention today is, yes, will everybody be as interested? Does everybody have the ability? Does everybody really want to manage their money? I don't know. That's a question you have to ask yourself. But I know this. If I'm sitting still and losing 30% or more of my retirement account and I'm doing nothing about it, then that is a sign for me. And it's a sign that if I'm losing $50,000 and I'm okay with that, and if you're okay with losing that money in lieu of the fact that you make money when the market's good, then okay, you can disregard this whole episode. But if you're not okay with taking those losses, then that's the moment that we are being invited to start to think differently, behave differently, and act differently. There are teachers, courses all around that can help you think differently, behave differently, and act differently. So again, all I want to do is just raise the thought today that if you're unhappy with your retirement accounts, your investment accounts losing so much when the market goes down, there are options for you if you want to take them and if you want to do better than that. And again, I am watching people every day. I'm a part of a group where we trade together. So I know this, I witness this, that are making money and the market is in shambles. It is very volatile. Many, many people are losing money each and every day, large sums of money, while there's a good group of people in my group that are making money every single day. So I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Thank you for listening. If you're still listening, and if this offended you, then good, because that's something that you need to take home and really decide, do you want to just continue to stay down the road that you are on, or do you want to think about and do something differently? Because there's a lot of money that's going away. It's a lot of wealth that's going away. That doesn't have to go away if you don't want it to. So I'm going to end on that. Think about it, sleep on it, marinate on it for a little bit. And if you do not want that to continue to happen to you every cycle, every 5, 6, 7 years, then I suggest that you look into doing something different. That's all I have for you today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Look forward to speaking with you all again soon. Adversity invites us to think, behave, and act differently. How will adversity change you? All right. Talk to you soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.